And action. G'day people. Land Rover Series 3 109 data. Here's a quick rundown for things that I meant to take videos of a long time ago for my friends out there, fellow Land Rover enthusiasts. I wanted to just take you through quick things that I've had to do for tuning up, in particular a 109 Series 3 2.6 six-cylinder engine, because there's scant data online about these machines. I'm going to turn the camera around so I can show you what I'm talking about. It comes to basic tune-ups and the things that I've had to find along the way when I've been working on these things. Okay, so this is my car. It's very simple. It's just a 109 pickup. You know, you can admire it from here. I hope it's visible. It's got a tropical roof. It's brilliant. Your standard fare, BM stalk. I have a Fairy overdrive, but it needs a rebuild. Bearings, suspect gone. Your typical ignition system. Hey, the miraculous thing is everything in there works, touch wood. So that's great news. Prevention's better than cure with these things. It needs regular attention, as people know. So rather than just leave it, I took the time to run myself through everything to give you guys an idea of what I'm going to do. I found some mistakes and lessons along the way. When I took the car on, I didn't check the locking hubs to see that they were free to 4x2 and not 4x4. So these were locked all the time I was testing the car. Nothing wrong with that, but when I started taking tight corners and turns, it started to feel quite difficult getting around. So I thought, oh dear, that's odd. Meanwhile, the bloody thing was in four-wheel drive. So I freed it up now, and hopefully I haven't damaged too much in the way of driveline. Some key things you'll see around this engine layout today, I want to just point out to you guys. You can rush on eBay and buy most of the stuff that I managed to find for this car. It's done a considerable amount of mileage. It's traveled between South Africa and here. It is standard South African specification when you look at it. Being a 2.6 is one of those things for the longer distances, but it was assembled in Birmingham, in Solihull. So it's not a kit build out in Brackenfell, Cape Town. This is one that was assembled here, took over there and repatriated back. Okay guys, waffling on. If you go online, this is a great assistance, this crank start handle. Most vehicles aren't equipped with them. I bought one for about 20 bucks, and they don't ever say i6, so everybody says 4-cylinder, but it will fit. The length and stroke is perfectly fine. Note, you know, you've got your slot that goes through there, and it just touches over there. Don't worry about it. I haven't yet tried to start the engine with this. You need big muscles, and I want to make damn sure, like my Harley Davidson, I've got good timing before I go ahead and be bravado. I changed out my ignition coil to a Viper resin filled to save so much trouble, because although it was difficult to spec, people didn't really know what I wanted. It does kind of say the Lucas system. If it says the Lucas system, then you know you've got the right coil. I changed out my old City oil one, which was dicking about, so that was a problem I solved. That Viper works really nicely. It was a bit on and off. I couldn't quite get ignition when I first installed it. I don't know why I didn't get the spark I wanted. Maybe it just took time to charge up. It shouldn't have done, but it did. And eventually I got it working just by playing around with the wires, and eventually just persistence. I managed to get spark through. It took me quite a night to get it done. Inside, yeah, the other thing that this machine has been through is a really good build inside the ignition system. The distributor is fairly new. The cap is pretty neat. The contacts are fine. I put a new point set in. I tried the electronic set. It didn't work. I think I got mixed up with my polarities with the original coil, which, you know, as usual, the bloody polarities were the wrong way around. But I'm convinced in the darkness when I was working, I did have it right, wired correctly. And when I tried to rewire it to this Viper coil, it still didn't work. So I chucked the electronics away, and I just put the original points back, but obviously a new set. This gap here is, and you'll find this online, it is exactly as it says on my feeler gauge. 15 thou, right? 0.381 millimeter is the gap that you need for your ignition gap. Now, a lot of people waffle on. You don't need to have this on cylinder 1 to make sure it's there. It will be there by its very design. And anyway, unlike what people say, or you've got 4 trigger points on your rotor, you don't. For the i6, you've got 6, right? It's very important because your dwell angle, which is your charging time on your coil, is going to be 360 divided by 6 cylinders. So that means you've got a 32 to 36 degree dwell angle on an i6, and then of course a 360 degrees divided by 8 give you 40, and then you've got 360 divided by 4, and so on and so forth. So yes, I made sure that the trigger point's just actuating the nylon trigger on cylinder 1. When you can see that's all aligned, that little screw inside there allows you to adjust your gap to where it needs to be. And it's very difficult to get a bloody feeder gauge in there. It's too broad, but you can just about make that it feels comfortable for me. I actually think that my gap is a little bit too narrow, but I'm going to run with it. The only other thing I need to do is adjust the advance a little bit more to check if I've just got to fine tune that a little bit, along with the carburetor, which is another whole field of expertise I'm not able to dwell on at this time. I'm still investigating how these Stromberg's 175 CDs operate. I mean, I kind of know your oil dampener and diaphragm inside there that needs replacing, and I've since done that. Topped it up with oil, so the dampening effect is good. I don't think I've got any problems with that, but I really do need to investigate how to get to the fuel strainer and change the fuel out, the fuel line out, and clean the bowl. So if anybody's got any advice on those, please do send it to me, because people are rebuilding these things online, but that's not what I want to do. I just want to know on this particular 175 CD where my idling screw is, so I can set the idle, so I don't need this electro actuator idle choke thing, whatever. I've got a big chuffing long cable here for my choke, which I absolutely hate, but I'll tidy it up in good time. A Visco coupling fan works really great. I had a little leak in my heat exchanger for my cooling at the back there. Just stick in Holt's radiator stop leak, straight down the coolant, 100% solves all problems. These engines are very clattery and clattery. That's because you do need to change the tapping settings on this. I'm not ready to do that yet. One day when I've got confidence and I can actually fit inside here, I will take that top cover off and I'll start adjusting tappets. For the moment, I'm just using engine stop leak. Lucas, fantastic stuff. There was concerns on these engines that they seep oil through their valve stems. It's possibly true. Mine doesn't. If it was before, it's not doing it anymore. My car doesn't smoke at all. It's fantastic. So I've put this stuff in as a treatment. It works wonders. The other stuff I just used last night to give a little bit better protection on metal to metal touching parts and to optimize their life is this oil additive from Liqui Moly. Because I work on Mercedes-Benz and BMW cars, classics, I learned from those German manufacturers and those German restorers about using Liqui Moly, which is a German lubricant manufacturer. They use these brands. It's a brand advocate, but it's really, really good stuff. The additive for older engines. So I've used those since in some of my cars. It hasn't made any difference on the newer ones, but on the older ones, 40 plus years old, this stuff works marvelously. It just quietens everything down, reduces NVH to the absolute minimum, noise, vibration, harshness, and that's what this stuff is really good at. It's MOS2, it's molybdenum disulfide. It's actually quite black in color because that's just the fines, the magnesium. So you'll find that your engine oil looks dirty, but it really, really isn't. It's absolutely wonderful. And I highly recommend it on engines like this. Nobody knows about this stuff. Really, really good to use, okay? Let me see if I can pour some out in the daylight. There, give you an idea of what it looks like. All right, so very good stuff to add to your clattery engines, guys, if you want to save the life on them, or maximize the range on them. The next step for me is to add this stuff to the transmission, because the box really needs attention. The box wants some love before this thing, starts to deteriorate. I've seen really bad examples of gearboxes going downhill because people just neglect them, and it's a pity. It's not the best of transmission boxes. It's not for cruising, it's for working. So you can't really expect everything from everything. This thing struggles to bomb down the road at 60 miles an hour. You really, you can't do that to it. You're going to wear it out. So the best thing to do is make sure you change the oil out in the diffs and in the gearboxes. Don't run the bloody diff lock, the locking hubs on, like I did, and you'll be fine. It's very durable and strong, but of course everything has its limits, and I think that it needs a really good solid oil treatment from myself in the days ahead as I start to work on bits of the car. But it's very easy and forgiving to work on. It's a great lesson for beginners who are starting to work in the classic market like myself. And you can see I've just set myself up to save time here to just check the dwells and the timings of this car. I have since done it before. I made extra marks on my crank pulley because the writing corrodes and you can barely see the degrees. And guys, don't panic if you don't have the exact numbers that you see online. There are always these little differences. Nobody's got my ratings. I've got 6 degrees, I've got 3 degrees, I've got 2 degrees, and I've even got 10. And it ranges from 6 before top dead center, 3 before top center, 2 before top dead center, something like that. Then obviously top dead center, then -3, -6, and then something like -8 after top dead center. I'm stuck it on 6 degrees before top dead center, and I made a red mark on it to make sure I know what I'm looking at. By the way, these ignition points are about $3 off eBay, and I really recommend you buy a pair of them at a time, so you always have nice fresh ones. I'm not going to whack this engine, so I'll be chewing through points, but they are known to chew up points. It's a very strong engine. It's fairly high compression as well. It's got a lot of wearing parts, so you want to try and minimize wear at all costs. It was traditionally a Rover engine. It's for a car, and they stuck it in here, so you can see this. The depth of the stroke is absolutely enormous on this thing. It's got a massive amount of torque. It looks like a bloody tractor engine, but no, it's not. It's definitely automotive. Exhaust over inlet design, not very popular, but it sounds beautiful, and it's super smooth, and it has a tremendous amount of torque, which is great for me. I love that. What did I do here now with my dwell meter? Dwell meters, connector positive to negative ground. You can see I did that on the alternator. There's my dwell tester. It also checks, pardon me, for revolutions. Timing is just a nice gun. As you can see, my AccuSpark gun is over here, and you select the clamp onto cylinder 1. I recommend BP6ES NGK spark plugs for these engines. Mid-range heat, that's all you need. These engines warm up really fast though, it's quite surprising. Keeps the cab nice and toasty in winter, but you do want to keep the temperatures down in these things. They don't like hot temperatures. The exhaust valves tend to hot spot on the pistons if you rev them really high, so be careful of things like that, guys. Try and keep the revs down and the cooling optimum, okay? So I'm going to check the timing now, and I'm also going to check the dwell angle to see that I'm getting the angle that I want. I've also, on my distributor rotor, I slipped a little bit of silicone grease on the rotor to just let that trigger last a little longer. I'm infatuated with keeping things nice and smooth and allowing them to run smoothly, because every little bit of wear takes horsepower away from the engine. They also say when you're setting tuning up, remove your air intake cover, your air intake tube. Brilliant. I'm going to remove my pulley. I'm not going to hand start it. There will be a feature on that one day when I'm got a little bit more courage. And that's what the front looks like, guys. Nobody shows this to you online. It's just that. Right, brilliant. I hope you're still there. Let's put these gadgets down here. I'm going to swing the engine over now and just check what we've got. Hopefully a positive response. I have a problem with my carburetor. I need to choke and fine tune the damn thing a little bit. You've got to run it up warm. It should still be warm from when I last used it earlier. That's it starting first time, and that's exactly what I wanted, right guys? Hear that? The revs are a bit low, but the oil pressure is building up. I don't know if you can see. See? It's got very good oil pressure. Beautiful. The other thing that makes me really happy is come listen to the exhaust note. So I need to do some work on this. There's something on idle but listen how quiet the engine is. Now you know you've got a very good engine. My dwell angle again is worrying me. It's saying right off the mark here, it's just not correct. I don't know what I'm getting wrong here, but that's not the correct reading. It should be in the middle. So I don't know what's going on. I'm doing something wrong. I've looked through the manual. Makes no sense. Obviously you can hear it's timed beautifully. Let's see if we can advance it, although I do need to increase the revs to get the timing. You got to set your timing at about 700 RPM, which this is definitely not 700 RPM. Okay, let's see what I can do. It is warming up though. And this is the part I need help with. Where's the idle screw, guys? Everybody's got the idle screw for the the Triumphs and the Sunbeams and the Minis, which use similar carburetors, Strombergs and Zenith carburetors anyway. But Land Rover, there's no information. Please help me. Okay, so I think that's 700, 750 circa. But my dwell angle is still resolutely off the tablier and it'll make no sense. I've done something wrong here. Okay, timing. Okay, my timing is way off. So, what do I do? What do I do? Well, if you turn the distributor this way, which is the rotation of the arm, you retard the timing. So in other words, if you turn it anti-clockwise, you retard the timing. If you turn it clockwise, you advance the timing. Sounds beautiful. So I think I know what my problem is already. And you can just listen. It's not a burp, so I need to lean this mixture now. I think I know what my problem was. Although my angle is still not right, I think it's just my connection. I know I've got a connection, but it's I don't know. I think this thing's done. I think it's on the blink. I bought it second hand. So let's lean, because I was on the choke, let's lean that out now. Ah, there we go. Now we've got idle again. So go figure. Let's just check the timing again. I know you guys probably won't be able to see it. That's better. On this car, you've got a needle on the block and your flywheel, just one needle, and your flywheel. I'm still off. Let's just pinch this. It's definitely too high. Let's kill that electric choke thing, whatever, accelerator. So that was too high. Way too high. I'm surprised I'm off timing. She starts first time, you know. So that's on idle now. Oh, ow, fuck. My father, when I was young, he warned me, don't work on Land Rovers, it's the worst thing ever. Jesus, was he right. You can't get in here. Okay, my timing is almost right. There's a little yellow mark that I made, and that's 6 degrees before top dead center. That's where I want to be. Okay, I've advanced that now. So let's see. Because you don't want to advance all the time. Because if you start picking up speed, okay, I've got it. I'm on my, just a little bit, just a little retardation. There we go. I'm going to just pinch that. Let's see where we are. It's blipping. They say that's normal, but I'm not happy with blipping. Something's not right there. Let's have another look. Oh. Okay, it's spot on. Right. I think a little bit more, but we'll go for a drive and test it out. So guys, I hope you saw that now. It's 23 minutes of video. I'll try and break this up over time to the different bits of important stuff, but that's kind of where you need to be, just to do a simple tune-up on here. Start with your ignition, guys, always. And that's for the learning for me, was starting with that coil, get rid of the old piece of shit and just put a new one in. Change your distributor cap if you have to. Your points, do your settings, check you got vacuum, check you got good spark plugs and leads, 100%, the basics, right? When you've got that, you 10 to 1 almost always going to have compression on here. You'll be fine. Treat your oils, treat your coolants, then you work on your carb. Take the diaphragm, replace your need with a new diaphragm, your fuel, fresh fuel, clean fuel, use injector cleaner, fuel cleaner or fuel treatment. I only use E5 fuel 99 octane in this car from Tesco or Texaco. That's one and the same. That's the best fuel, okay? And then you get good driving experience. Guys, I'm going to sign off. It's been lovely speaking to you. I hope that this is of some value. Please comment, feedback is valuable. Share with everybody that works on these things, because there's scant information on 109 or even Series 2A 2.6 engines on here. And there's nothing, and it's the most sought after engine. I'm really happy to have finally, after 24 years of working, managed to buy one and own one, which is, I'm really stoked about that. They're great sounding machines, second only to maybe the V8, but I love my 6 cylinders. I'm sure people would agree. And yeah, I'll look after this for hopefully the next youngster to come along to take care of it, or take it off me. Enjoy your Land Rovers, guys. Look after them, and they'll most certainly look after you. Ciao for now.